Man, do we have a treat for the listening audience today? We have true Frisco royalty in the house. We have Black C, also known as Black Chris, also known as Black Caesar of RBL Posse, Pioneer,
Yes,
in the
sir.
house.
What's up with you? What's up?
Welcome to FogBay TV, my brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Man, we just gonna run it on down. Nothing too crazy here, man. We have a relaxed format, man. We just hope that you enjoy being with us and that the audience enjoys this video.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're gonna run into the first question, man, and I want to pose it as the birth of RBL Posse. How RBL Posse came about, when they came about, who influenced the coming together, and your leadership you provided during that time.
As far as how we came about, it started with I would say with a beginning. It started with Budweiser. You know, Budweiser got me to pretty much get behind him to pretty much be more like a. I guess you could not. It wasn't really like an executive producer, but I was getting money on the block. Budweiser got me to get the equipment. You know, buy equipment and stuff for him because he was doing his thing. He was like at the time. Before he got into doing the rap, he was going around the churches doing like the gospel rap, all that stuff. So he started working on albums and doing stuff like that. But he was going to different studios. So he was just like, Black, why don't you invest in getting some equipment and you know, we get behind me and, you know, help me get some stuff cracking. So that's how I kind of got into the music. Went to a couple pawn shops, bought some bought some equipment. Brought it to the house, learned how to work it. It was me, Budweiser, a dude named Double B, a.k.a. my boy Herm. We all was in there just tinkling with the equipment. And from there, that's what kind of, it got a few dudes from the block into the studio. That's when T-Lo emerged, T-Shine, a.k.a. T-Lo. And Budweiser was doing his thing. Budweiser DeRace used to be up in there, and my brother Dre, who was on the cover with Budweiser, the product album cover. That's my little brother. We was all up in there working in Studio B, which we call it, the back room. So yeah, it went from there to them dudes just started kind of like bullshitting, and that's how I got into rapping. I was like the beat man pretty much at the time, and from there I was dabbling. Like when they all leave, I dabble with writing songs and playing with the music. And I was going to come out with some solo album. Actually, I was going to be a solo artist. So I put out a couple tracks called, the most popular track was a song called What About My Nigga, where I named a bunch of dudes on my block. And I knew if you drop names, dudes going to play it when you say their name, you know what I mean? So I ended up doing that. And I had a song called Can't Say a Nigga Gay from the East Bay, which at the time I didn't realize we was the West Bay. I was just hearing the East Bay and all that stuff from all the Oakland rappers. So I assumed we was part of the East Bay. So I had a song called Can't Say a Nigga Gay from the East Bay. That kind of took off locally as far as in Hunters Point. And from there, man, I ended up wanting to go to the studio. Budweiser had already built a relationship with TC from working on his project, his Budweiser and DeRace project. So what really motivated me to actually go to the studio, the dude CTG, Claytus the Greatest, ended up taking one of our beats that we put out for my brother Dre. It was called The Dre Got Flavor. He used that Fatback Hotbox sample, and I was just like, man, I got to put this shit out for everybody to keep stripping us for our music. So that's what ended up leading me to try to get in there and actually start working on my project, my solo stuff. And then on the way to the studio, I ended up getting cold feet. I didn't want to, because if the project was going to be a failure, everybody was going to kind of like, you know what I mean? I just didn't want to be the one to fail. So I was just like, man, I need to have somebody else in the lab with me, try to become a group thing. So what I did was ask T-Lo to be a part of the group with me. And T-Lo was like, bro, I'm working out, I'm hustling, I'm doing this and that. He didn't want to come to the studio. He was lollygagging. So, but what he did was he was just like, man, but my girlfriend's brother, he don't do nothing but rap. I think he'd be a good fit. I'm gonna bring him up here and, see if y'all can collab, see what y'all could do. So his girl's brother was Mr. C. Brought Mr. C up there. And this was like maybe a year or two after we had already been in the studio. Like we had put out a bunch of stuff with T-Lo, Budweiser, my brother Dre. We had a bunch of tapes we used to just pass out and sell for $5 around Hunters Point. A bunch of hot tracks that people was feeling, and so Mr. C came. He made a song called "Hit Squad New Jack," where he was a lyrical dude. He was really into that East Coast stuff, into like all the Master Aces at the time, all the who else he was into? He was like into like a lot of that jazzy type backpack type stuff. You know what I mean? So when I was mainly into the gangster shit, NWAs, 415, all that type of stuff at the time. So yeah, I ended up really liking what he put together on the Hit Squad New Jack song. And when when we was about to go to the studio, our name used to be actually the Hit Squad. That's what we was actually going to the studio under that name. And then we found out Eric Sermon and them ended up jacking us, you know what I mean? Took that name, so we ended up coming with RBL Posse. Well, actually, Ruthless by Law. T-Lo gave us that name. Once I told him Hit Squad was took, he was like, man, why don't y'all use Ruthless by Law? And I was just like, ugh. Didn't know what it meant at the time. It just sounded dope.
It's dope.
You know what I mean? And from there, we ended up shortening it. You know what I mean? I was just like, we're going to just call it RBL Posse. And yeah, we ended up going down there, hooking up with TC, and started dropping those tracks. You know what I mean? You could tell, too, like on our first album, you can notice that a lot of them songs is like from my solo stuff. Like I got More Like an Orgy was more like a solo song of mine. Mm-hmm. A Lesson to Be Learned. That's like mainly like I got the first 2 verses on there, which was a solo for my solo project. And we also got Sorta Like a Psycho. That was from my solo project that I was working on. A lot of them I kind of put Mr. C on at the end of those songs, except for More Like an Orgy. I did that one to the head, but yeah, all that came from my solo project that I was working on.
Okay, the next question we're gonna go into Black C is, being from the Bay Area, from San Francisco, most of our families have a migration pattern coming from the South. It kind of adds that flavor to who we are. Tell us a little bit about where your people from down south, where they migrated from.
Man, it's crazy because my mom's mother and my dad's family, both sides is from Texas. My mom's is from Wascom, Texas. And her whole side is from Wascom, migrated out here to San Francisco. And my dad is from actually from Fort Worth and Waco. He from Waco. His dad was from Waco, and I believe his mom was from Waco, and his dad was from Fort Worth. So I got a lot of family down there in Waco and Fort Worth on my daddy's side. My daddy's side is real big. My father himself had about like 14, 15 of us. Wow. You know what I mean? So yeah, they migrated from Texas, all moved straight to San Francisco, right to Hunters Point when they got out here. To the old the projects, which is old Navy bunkers or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? Down there at the by the shipyard. So yeah, that's where they all migrated from, all from Texas, man.
All right, and that walks me right into the next question. Your musical influences growing up.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody that follows your music, nationally or internationally, hears the soulful samples, the funk samples from Jump with Lesson to Be Learned, and it makes me think this brother must have had some early influences in his life musically.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
That all come from my mama, man. Really, my mom and my daddy. My daddy ran a gambling shack on Hunters Point Boulevard. That's all they played was old school, from the Marvin Gayes, the Zapp, the Rogers, whatever, anybody you could think of, from the Stevie Wonders, whoever, the Dramatics, all that. And my mom too, she was the one that kind of like got me into, she was more into the funkadelic P-Funk stuff. Yeah. Like she played all that in Roger because it's up-tempo. She partied dominoes at her house, domino parties. They on Slit Small Liquor Bulls and, doing their thing, man, playing dominoes and stuff. And that's all I used to hear when I was upstairs as a youngster, them downstairs slapping that music, just bumping it. And actually all them samples off of my albums came from her collection. I just remembered, I'm like, wait a minute, my mom down in that closet by the hot water heaters, a crate of records, stacks of them. So I started going through them. That's when I started running into the Minnie Ripertons and the Shaka Khans and, all the way up to even like Prince. My mom was into Sugar Hill Gangs. All that. That's where the Lesson to Be Learned come from, her collection. This wasn't nothing I went and bought. This was stuff that came out of her actual collection that I still got to this day. I'm still sitting on them same albums I sampled from. So I mean, the Uncle Louie's, man, the like I said, Patrice Russians, Stephanie Mills, I mean, whatever it was, man. She had everything up in there. Anything that was cracking, from R&B top 40s to some of the underground groups, she had up in there. And man, I went sample crazy when I got that stuff up there. Got my little sample machine. So yeah, my mom, I would say, is the #1 influence when it comes to that music, man. She loved it. You know what I mean? She loved funk, up tempo music, man, for sure.
All right, man. And I appreciate you elaborating on that for us. And that again, man, was walking me right into the next question, because what I'm hearing is culture. When I hear family and music and dominoes and everything else you're doing, I'm hearing culture. So in the 80s and 90s on Harbor, Hunters Point, from your family culture to the street culture, and we had Budweiser in a few weeks ago, and he talked about a family culture. Can you speak about that 80s and 90s culture on the streets and with the family?
Well, you know, up on Harbor, it really was a big old family. Like, but I'll be at Budweiser house. He'd sleep at my house. We'd sleep at my boy Lil Mo. I mean, it was the block. It was like really a village that raised you. Cause my mom might be at work all day, working at C's Candy, wherever she was working at the time, and we had, you know, a lot of the moms over there we called Mama. Like it was Mama Rose, Mama Faye, you know what I mean, Mama Dorothy, which is Budweiser mom. You know, we called each other mamas, you know what I mean? And they really raised it. My mom gone, Mama Rose gonna spank my ass if she see me out there doing something crazy or something, you know, or talking to somebody crazy. So yeah, it was really a village up there on Harbor Road, man. I could see, you know, basically the whole Hunters Point, you know what I mean? But specifically Harbor, where I was from, them projects, yeah, it was a family thing, you know what I mean? So we had a bunch of moms around there who looked out for all of us. You know, we grew up together, stayed in each other's house, ate off each other's tables, and fought with each other. You know what I mean? Learned how to fighting each other, and all the way to the gang banging days. You know what I mean? We prepped each other. You know what I mean? For them days. Yeah. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was just one of them things, man. Where Harbor Road, I could really say, man, you know, it got crazy later on, but during the '80s, it was beautiful up there, man. Before the crack really hit and tore everything up, and all of us got away from going and play, you know, basketball, playing 12 and up basketball or 13 and up flag football, you know, at the gym. It got crazy before the crack era hit.
All right. And now we're going to move into the music aspect a little more. Or I say once again, want to know about Black C's creative process when it comes to his lyrics, or maybe even his production process. But please give us some insight to that, because obviously it's been working.
I really didn't, to be honest with you, I didn't really have no formula. I just kind of, if it was slapping, I find something like, you know, just say for instance, I might be listening to George Clinton, and I hear a piece that sound crazy in the middle, you know, because George Clinton music switches up.
Yeah.
It might start, the song might start one way by the time you get 4-5 minutes in. You know, that was back when they was doing 8-minute songs and shit. You know, right nowadays it's 2.5 minutes. But back when they was like, you know, they had bands where they might, the song might be 6-7 minutes. You get the 12-inch single and it's about 15 minutes on some of the songs. You know what I mean? But yeah, I might find something in there that sound dope, that loop, and like Bitches on the Ding Dong. That's just a little bitty piece that came out of one of the songs. I think it was Glory Hella Stupid on I think it was Parliament or one of them. Small little piece. I just hear it to catch me, and I just sample it. I really didn't have no formula. You know what I mean? I did have some influences later on as far as musically when it comes to producing. Dudes like Cole 187 and them who influenced me. Dr. Dre, of course. But mainly Cole 187 from Above the Law. He was a big influence later on. But when I first started off, I didn't really have no influences. It was just mainly me just playing with the samples, tinkering with different loops. And you know, what did catch my ear was a lot of them deep buzz bass lines, you know what I mean, that you might hear Zap and Funkadelic and them use. That's why, you know, when people used to call me and say I'm going to get some music from Black Nigga, I'm going to get some of that C-Funk, because I was mainly into that funky type, you know what I mean, sound. You know what I mean? His verses going like with Studio Tone, and then was more with that mobbish type sound. Mine was more on the funk level. I say my music kind of more related towards the LA Southern Cal style than it was Bay Area.
Okay.
So mine was a mixture of both. But dominantly, I would say that Southern Cal sound. You know what I mean? That influenced me a lot.
Okay, what I'm catching from what you're saying, Black C, well, not at the tail end of what you're saying, mob music versus gangster rap, and your style kind of being more of a Southern California style, with the production and how you actually created your music, rap style, etc. Can you elaborate on mob music versus gangster rap and the nuances in each of those?
I would say the only difference is really that the mob kind of is more, I would say, mellow. It's a different, like, it's hard to explain, but you know, like just say Studio Tone and them, the basses that they use might be more of a synthesized type bass sound, where it's just more got that black, like womp, like the bass is kind of stretchy. You know what I mean?
It's throb.
It's a different type of throb, exactly. And the gangster type funk is a little bit more. We say it's more like based around like the Moog, the mini Moog, where you got more whistles and Moogs. It's more like I say, like the LA dudes, like how Daz produce, like Code 187 and them. It's more kind of based around Zap and Parliament, Funkadelic and them type of feel. You know what I mean? And that's really kind of the only difference. You know, that mob might have a few more, like you might use more pianos and strings in that versus like the funk where you're using a little bit more. If you do use a piano, you might go into like more of the Rhodes or something, or you might use, you know, like I said, like the Nord lead and the mini moves and you know, that Juno. It's just a little bit, you're using a different feel, but you know, like I said, ours was a mixture of it all. You know what I mean? We had a little bit of both up in there. You know, like just saying, I would say more of our mobbish sound was more like Mortuary Number on the pager. You know what I mean? And then we had more of a funk sound where it come to like the Funktified, the song Funktified on Ruthless by Law. So we kind of used a little bit of both. You know what I mean? But like I said, majority of it was funk. You know what I mean?
Indeed. Now I want to go into your most meaningful project. No, you've had many dynamic projects, from Lesson to Be Learned, The Hostile Takeover, to your newest, which is still Ruthless. But from your point of view, through everything you've been through as an artist, losing Mr. C, losing Hitman, and still moving forward in a positive direction, out of all these projects, which one rings the most true to you?
The one that I mean, I got two for two different reasons.
Okay, two.
The first project is the most meaningful because that was like the one that set the pace, that put us on the map. You know, a lesson to be learned. You know, as far as me and Mr. C hitting the scene with Bammer Weed on there, having Herm Lewis on the intro. You know, just the feel of that project when it came out, how the city was came together behind that project. It was like one of the how could I put it, like it was one of the things that brought Hunters Point and Fillmore together, because like we was coming off of that 80s going into early 90s Frisco gang war thing. We was like really out there banging and funky with Sunnydale and Fillmore. And that project brought us together. So that mean a lot, because that was the one that kind of paved the way for a lot of the three-letter groups over there, from the GRPs, RTDs, everybody kind of like UDIs. You know, we had a bunch of groups that followed in our footsteps, coming like RBL. So, but then like as far as my projects, I would have to go to my solos. The most meaningful one would probably be the 70s Baby project to me, just because I'm a 70s baby. The soulful samples, a lot of the songs on there, I really, you know, went into deep thought, like where it all began, where I'm talking about where it started from, with me and Budweiser and us, and another song that was called How It Could Have Been, What Could Have Been, where I'm talking about, you know, if Mr. C wouldn't have died, what probably could have happened. Ain't no telling what would have happened, how big we would have got. You know what I mean? Because I look at dudes who from our era, like E40 and all them, who done elevated. And me right now, even though I'm still holding the torch and doing pretty good, if I'd had Mr. C here, man, with that deal that we had with Atlantic on the table, and the money that we had behind us, man, and the people we had behind us, like Enhancer TC to Mike Denton and them over there. We ended up getting into it with we ended up getting Rick Rock and them on board and all that. You know, if we would have had that deal and Mr. C would have been here, man, that Eye for an Eye album would have been, it wouldn't have been Eye for an Eye. It would have been something way doper and went way bigger. You know what I mean? We'd have been able to really use our resources. You know what I mean? So yeah, it just, that one means a lot to me. 70s Baby Project, as far as my solo stuff, when it comes to the RBL, the first one, without a doubt, is like, I hold that dearly to me. You know what I mean? That right now is what keep me, yeah, what keep me working right now. Dope. Still working to this day behind Bammer Weeds. You know what I mean?
All dope. And Black C, we don't definitely talk about Big Beat Atlantic and everything surrounding that. But I believe you just walked me in again to a question that I think is very important and was pivotal for RBL Posse. We know No Bammer Weed started as No Bammer Joint.
Exactly.
The decision making behind changing it to No Bammer Weed, and the importance of that decision in retrospect, because you took it from Hunters Point to Frisco as a whole. So, in retrospect, how important was that decision?
Man, that was super important, and I'm happy I made that decision, because at first it was just only, I was mainly worried about, I want Hunters Point behind me. As long as Hunters Point behind, I don't care. That's all that mattered to me. But once I started heading to the studio, me switching it from Don't Give Me No Bammer Joint, we don't smoke that shit in Hunters Point, to Don't Give Me No Bammer Weed, we don't smoke it in the SFC. It just broadened it, because now we got Fillmore, Sunnydale, Alamany, I don't care where you from. You know, Mission District. You feel like, you know, we got some dudes coming out who representing Frisco now. So we putting them on, you know, we behind them 100%. We putting them on this pedestal. And it's like, you know, because you had your Oakland rappers who was representing the O. But, you know, in Frisco, we was all segregated. It was Fillmore, Hunters Point, and we kind of like was coming out with our own stuff. Even when Budweiser and them came out, it was mainly a Hunters Point thing with the Miller over there. He was going against the Miller. It was the Miller from Sunnydale, Budweiser from Hunters Point, and it was just kind of segregated. So by me doing that, I was just like, man, if I switch this and really put Frisco on the map, this gonna get all the tourists behind me. They gonna take it places. Ain't no telling where they gonna take it to. Put their family members up on it, and this should really, you know, do some numbers and bring us together. And it worked out just as planned, man. By me switching that up, that Bammer Weed took off. Had the whole city playing it, man. Every car that was passing by, I'm like, oh, that's Bammer Weed. Oh man, that's Bammer Weed. Oh yeah, that's our album. You could tell, because our album, you could tell the hi-hats and the clap. I used to use that P-Funk clap with the reverb clap on top of each other, and you could just hear it. The hi-hats, the clap mixed with the side stick. It was just like, I knew my music from anywhere. Every car that was passing by at the time, whether we went to Oakland or wherever, man, we had a run, a good run, 92 to 93, man, with that album. And man, it worked out so lovely, man, with us coming together. And after that album dropped, Fillmore dudes came up on Harbor, and, you know, we pieced it out, and, you know, it was off to the races from there.
Man, that's big, and I respect your decision making, and how that decision translated into gold, basically.
Yes, sir.
For you, and I think that any brother that's brother, sister, black or brown, whatever you may be, that's listening to this, take that into perspective when you're moving about your life.
Yes, sir.
The next question, man, is akin to the last question. Frisco niggas ain't no punks.
Yeah.
Huge hit in the city.
Yeah.
Also responsible for creating a big unity vibe in the city. Probably saved some lives in the city.
Oh, most definitely.
Black C, give me your opinion on that. How big that was. Tell us about it.
Like I said, once that Bammer Week came out, that kind of set us up. You know, a lot of dudes, Pigskins, all them dudes came over to Harbor. You know, we pieced it up through my boy Lonnie Green. One love Lonnie Green for putting it together. And Lonnie Green was a big part of the whole movement of Fillmore coming over there, working it out with us. And my boy Nard Temple, Hard Nard, one love to him. You know, me having his support made it happen. And from there, me and JT the Bigga Figga got close after that day. So JT started coming up on Harbor, asking me questions like, bro, where you want to press this up at? How you get your album out? So I rode with JT over the Music Annex. I believe it was out here in Hayward. It was Hayward or one of them. They had the Music Annex. They used to press all the cassettes. It was cassettes only at the time. So me and JT got together and created a bond. You know, that's my brother from another. You know, that's my dude to this day, man. He always check in on me, see what's going on. And yeah, me and him just linked up, got real tight. And from there, that's how we end up getting on the Frisco Niggas Ain't No Punks. JT ended up getting at me like, bro, I got this song, man, I want to do, represent Frisco. I need you on it. It's dope. You know, we got a little young dude on there, man, named San Quinn. He up and coming. Woo, 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 this and that. One thing led to another. We went out there to their studio, went out to, I think it was Bankroll Studios or one of them.
All right.
And from there, we went out there and heard San Quinn, and I was just like, ooh, like, okay, this boy finna kill him. And heard the verses on there. Me and Mr. C wrote our shit right there on the spot, man, and we knew we had a hit. Soon as it came on, Gigolo G played that thing, I was just like, oh, okay. You got one, JT. You got one. And yeah, man, we laid our verses, man, and that thing took off, man. Another hit for the city.
Man, I loved it all. It was dope.
Appreciate that.
Loved it all. It was dope. But this is another question I'm going to ask you about something that was real dope.
Mm-hmm.
After Lesson to Be Learned, you had the self-titled RBL Posse album. But a little before that, there was this thing we called the Herm tape that was ringing through the city. And there was a song in there called My Nine, I believe it was.
Yeah, got My Nine, yep.
That shook the whole city up.
Mm-hmm.
Every RX-7 and 50
You're right.
that was rolling was playing that.
Yeah, for sure.
Tell me about that process of getting with Herm and getting on that compilation and how you were feeling at that time, because RBL was, in my opinion, as a youngster back then, was at a pinnacle.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me how that all came together.
Well, that you know, Herm was part of our crew, so you know that was inevitable. That was gonna happen regardless. You know,
Okay.
I actually motivated Herm to actually start working on the compilation because he used to be with us all the time. So he was just like, you know, man, I want to get into the music. A couple of dudes started actually, you know, I guess to do intros and get on their albums, and we was already running around for maybe like from 92 to 90. I guess almost towards the end of 93, was kind of like running around touring with our album. So people was kind of curious of how we was going to come anyway. And then the samples that kind of got us caught up too. Because I Got My Nine is actually a sample. I can't think of I think it's from One Way or one of them. But we ended up playing it over. We got an enhancer who enhances all the beats. He know how to play over any sample. So he actually played I Got My Nine sample on. But leading up to that, I told Herm, like, yeah, man, you need to go and just do the compilation thing and, you know, get all the groups together that you're dealing with, you know, get everybody in the studio, get with Enhancer and them and put the comp together. He said, yeah, I've been talking to TC, this and that, and, you know, I've been thinking about it. And I'm like, yeah, bro, put it together. You need to do that. So we was probably like one of the first or second songs done. We kind of set the bar on that comp.
Indeed.
And back then too, we was kind of like compilation kings, you know, from the West Coast Bad Boys to Three Beam Circuses to the Bay Area Players to what I mean. We was on a mission back then. You know what I mean? To the D-Shot compilation. I can't think of his off top, but
Boss Ball.
The Boss Ballin compilations, all that. So, but yeah, it was it was that time for us to kind of show, as far as us like transitioning into like actually playing our music over instead of samples. Because to be honest, we had a bunch of original music when we actually did the Lesson to Be Learned tape, but I was just like, man, I got down to TC's and he had the Emax and all that stuff, and I was just like, damn, he got like 28 seconds of sampling time. So I ended up going, and plus I heard Totally Insane, Al Capone in them album. I was just like, oh shit, them boys got some heat. Them and Black Dynasty, they was in there at the time, man. They had some heat, so that made me really pull all the samples back out. Okay. But going into the Herm compilation, it was a lot of music was getting played over, a lot of original stuff. You had Nate Banks on there, you know, Sugar Bear and them, Selsky, everybody was on there. So we was like, man, let's go into our original band. Let's go and play that. And I Got My Nine was already done. It was actually a song that had me, Mr. C, Sugar Bear, and who was it? Was it Hitman? No, Hitman I don't think was on that. It was just me, Hitman, me, Mr. C, and Sugar Bear. He was on that. So he ended up getting his own solo song on Herm Compilation. So we took him off of that, and me and Mr. C just did it to the head. But yeah, that set the bar. That one right there set the bar. Everybody come in, Herm will play our song or whatnot, let people hear it, see how everybody coming, and that motivated dudes to go to the drawing board and really come up with some heat. So it added to Herm Compilation. One of the best compilations ever, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Herm put that together. And it set us up for our second release, which was Ruthless by Law. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people used to always ask us. That's why we self-titled the album, too, because people used to be like, what does RBL mean? RBL Posse, what does RBL stand for? Yeah. So we was just like, man, let's go on and self-title the album, Ruthless by Law. Even to this day, people still be like, what do RBL stand for? And I'm like, damn, we done came with Ruthless by Law. You know? You didn't catch it. You know what I mean? But yeah, that set us up lovely, man. We helped Herm and he helped us back because that thing did pretty good, and it set us up for that second release to take off.
And you know, one thing that we don't talk about or it's not talked about is that's one of the first compilations in the hip hop industry back then.
Yeah, people try to give it to Master P, but it was Herm. Herm was the first. He came before that West Coast Bad Boys, man. Yeah, he came first.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
And I'm walking right into that one too, because you see where P is now.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't know that where P got his start at Richmond, California, right here in the Bay Area, Stone's Throw.
Man.
You know?
He was up there in a minute with us out there. You know what I mean?
Right. So you had a hit on there.
Yeah.
Now, I just called $1 out of 15, but he was trying to make $1 out of 15 cents.
Right. Yeah.
Please talk about that song, man, and the importance of that song, and how that even helped propel P forward along with everyone else who was on that compilation.
Yeah, we almost missed that because P was sweating us to get it because we was hot at the time. And to be honest, Mr. C did not want to do it. That's why we was dragging our feet. Because I'm a money man. P like, bro, I got a few dollars for y'all. I want y'all to get on it. And I'm like, yeah, all right. You know, let me know when. And Mr. C was one of them dudes who into lyrics. He into lyrical dudes. He real snobby and funny when it comes to that. If you ain't dope, he don't want to be a part of it. And he was kind of like, bro, I don't know. I don't want to really be on it. You know, I'm cool on being on that compilation. And I'm just like, wow. I'm like, P offering us like $4,000. You know, let's go on and get this money real quick. And he was just like, no, I'm cool. He didn't really care for him too much as a rapper, but I'm trying to explain to him like, bro, it's like Herm compilation. It's a compilation. You know, we're going to have our own song on it, but he thought it was going to flop. So the last minute, we drug out. You know, I'm riding with Mr. C, so I'm just kind of like, all right, we just going to drag it out and ain't going to get on it. But so enough, we at the studio on our way out, leaving one of our sessions, working on our stuff. Master P come walking in, going over there to go work on some stuff. And he's like, oh, what's up, man? Like, I'm down to the last songs, man. I mean, y'all might not have enough time to do a song, but can't y'all get on this song that I got going on right now? Trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. I got the sample, this and that, and I'm like, all right, cool. And I was kind of happy it happened that way because I wanted to get that paper. I'm just like, man, but I seen Mr. C face. He didn't really want to do it. So, Master P, we go in there, enhancer pull up the session, it come on. We like, ooh, okay. Like, all right. I look at Mr. C. Mr. C kind of got a little smirk on his face, like, okay, that's kind of dope. So, yeah, we end up knocking it out right there, doing it for P. He took care of us and ended up becoming a hit. I'm blessed to be a part of that. I'm happy we didn't do our own song, and it worked out how it did to where we ended up getting on the song with P. You know what I mean? Because P is a legend. You know what I mean? He went on to do big things after that. And he looked out for me later on, even on the second one. When I was on Atlantic Records, he was trying to sign me, trying to get me over to No Limit. And he ended up letting me release my song that I did for his second compilation as a single in Canada. You know what I mean? Call It What You Want with Lavidi.
Okay.
It did big in Canada, man. It was crazy how they got at me. It was just like, yeah, you know, it's on Master P compilation. Want to see if we can get clearance to release it. It was like EMI Canada or something. He was like, we want to just release that song by itself as a single.
Okay.
I got with P, and P was like, man, you got my blessing, man. Go on, yeah. Whatever paperwork I need to send to you, whatever you need from me is good. So P always been good with me, man, and I'm blessed. I'm happy that it worked out the way it did with getting on that $1 out of 15 cents. Big song. And we got the gold plaque from those too. So it worked out. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Man, and you just mentioned Big Beat Atlantic, and that's what I wanted to walk into next, Black C. Everybody don't sign a major deal.
Right.
I mean, out of the millions of people that call themselves artists across the world, that is a pivotal moment, a way to go International.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about signing that major deal, and then after that, kind of tell us about the difference between the independent game versus that major game.
Well, we got to Atlantic. Actually, it was a few people trying to get at us. It was we was at Relativity Records at us. We had Zoo Entertainment at us, Big Beat Atlantic, and Priority. But and Def Jam too, wrestling them. But when we put it together, Mike Karen was well, not Mike Karen. What was my boy that came down there? Mike Karen was the one at Big Beat. The president of Atlantic right now, man. My brain is gone.
Yeah, I don't know it either.
But Mike Karen and them, the only reason why we went with Big Beat Atlantic is because they flew out to come see us. You know what I mean? They came out, took us out to lunch, came out to come holler at us and the whole nine. And a lot of the other people was just trying to work deals with Jason to try to bring us with the whole In a Minute. So we wasn't trying to go with the whole In a
package
Minute.
deal,
a package thing. So we was like, man, we trying to do something totally separate. We already over here mad at Jason because he ain't paying us, trying to withhold payment behind the he was trying to withhold payment behind the samples that we had to get cleared for the first album.
Okay.
So yeah, he was trying to hold that paper back. So Mike Karen and all them came down, got at us, went out, took us out to lunch, went out, chopped it up. He like, man, I'm just trying to sign y'all. Jason getting at everybody trying to do a label thing. We don't want to take the whole load. We just trying to get with y'all. So we was with him on that. We like, yeah, man, we agree. So, he had a nice lucrative deal set up for us. So we end up, it was a couple meal on the table, nice and lovely. And what happened was Mr. C ended up passing, you know what I mean? So that was the problem. Mr. C ended up passing away. And they end up sticking with us, though. You know what I mean? That's one thing I do love about Big Beat. They still was like, man, we know that you the man behind the music. You doing all the production, so how about you pull Hitman in? I know that's y'all little protege. I feel like we ain't trying to have him fill Mr. C's shoes, but we think he'll be a good fit in RBL just moving forward. You know what I mean? Just so the deal can still happen, because we still want to do it, but then they end up chopping the paper all the way in half, though. They chopped that thing down, after Mr. C death. But we ended up moving forward with it, and it was cool. The deal was kind of lovely, but once we ended up signing and got over there, all the other stuff ended up falling into place where they get you to the round table once you make a song like this, like that. They bringing up Master P, like, yeah, you see these songs Master P making, can y'all make something on this level and this, I'm just like, nah, man, y'all sign me behind what I do. You know what I mean? And everybody that was at Big Beat that actually who wanted us end up moving over to Atlantic. They ended up shutting Big Beat down, and that's what kind of got us caught up in the ended up almost getting shelved.
Okay.
Once they brought everybody to the president of the label, who I'm just having a brain fart on, I can't think of his name right now, but he ended up moving over being the president of Atlantic. Mike Karen and them ended up being A&R for Atlantic, and they kind of shut Big B down, and it just everything went a little haywire to that. But as far as as far as independent and major, the thing I do like about the majors is you got a lot of help. You know what I mean? It gets you exposure, it gets you out there. We went on tour. We was all through Atlanta, down all through the South. You got that red carpet treatment where you're going into all the radio stations and everything is already laid out for interviews, all that stuff. You know what I mean? That's the pros to that. But the cons is you really don't really get paid. You know what I mean? You can get shelved, especially if you don't go platinum. The deal that we had set up, I had to go gold or platinum to actually recoup the money and start making some money. So that kind of set us back. You know what I mean? Especially when I'm used to going to get COD from City Hall or music people or whoever it is you're dealing with, Rap Bay. You go in there with, 5,000 tapes or CDs and you selling them at $5 a cassette or $10 a CD. You getting cashed out. You leaving up out of there with 25, 50,000 right then and there. So that's the pros and the cons to that. The independent thing is you got to spend that paper to get yourself where you need to be. But if you already got a leg in the game like we did, we had a pretty good name where we was able to put RBL Presents on projects, and it's good to do at least 10, 15,000 out the trunk easily. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. I mean, I liked both. Don't get me wrong, but I prefer to be independent because I like having my own creative control. I like to be in behind the steering wheel of my career where I'm going. If I want to deal with this dude over here, I can deal with it. If I don't want to deal with this label, I mean this radio station, I don't have to. I make those decisions, you know. But it was lovely, man. We had a nice run independently too. Even with Hitman, like Hitman sold like 120,000 units, and we pressed them all up ourselves. I know exactly how much he sold. So I pressed every last one of them, and sold them COD, Walter, every last one of them, $10 out the trunk. So we made a nice chunk off of that Hitman, and that really set me up to be able to do what I'm doing now. You know what I mean? Where I was able to go get a house and get a studio and finance to get behind a lot of other projects that we end up later on putting out up under our umbrella.
Indeed. All right, this is something I want to tie into the last question about the majors. How we coming with a big budget video?
Mm-hmm.
On Alcatraz, Big Lurch, Hitman, you, the Posse. I remember watching it, I believe, on Rap City when I was in Atlanta, and how proud I was to see a group from San Francisco Bay Area being projected nationwide.
Right.
Tell us about that process, creating that big budget video.
That was man, I have a brain fart. I forgot that dude went on to do a lot of big stuff. He actually did our Bammerweed video. We ended up our very first Bammerweed video. He ended up going out and started doing a bunch of other big budget videos, man. But we end up going with that because Mystical, we end up getting Mystical on the song, and then we end up getting Big Lurch on there. We got Big Lurch on there. He got in there at the last minute. It was actually gonna be a song with just us and Mystical. We met Mystical up at Mike Mosley and Rick Rock's studio.
Okay.
And I was a fan of his. I had his cassette tape from back then. A lot of people didn't know about him, but we had a dude from New Orleans who stayed up on Harbor. He used to put us up on a lot of the stuff from down there, like Juvenile and all them, like Soldier Rag stuff before they even blew up and people even know about them. I knew about all them.
Okay.
And yeah, that's how I ended up getting with Mystical. This is before No Limit, the whole nine. And he came out, kicked it at the house, the whole, chilled with us, did the song for a little bit of nothing. And we actually had to pay him almost 10 bands to come do the video because he had got with No Limit at the time. So
wow.
Yeah, he tried to rape us a little bit, but I wasn't mad at Master P, got at me like, bro, it was nothing against y'all. The label got the budget for it, so we charging them, and I'm just like, bro, I gotta recoup that money. You charging them, but really I'm paying for it.
That's
but
right.
It's like, we don't even worry about it. We're gonna look out for you in the long run. We just trying to get a little something out of it because they didn't. He pretty much did the song for a little bit of nothing, which was was cool. But we actually weren't even on Alcatraz. We was actually in a studio set down in LA.
Okay.
Where they had like courtrooms, they had jail sets. You name it, they got it up in there. Apartment sets, hospitals, whatever. So we went to a little studio place where it was like a lot, and we did it up in there. So yeah, it was us, Big Lurch, Rick Rock, Dooney Baby, and all them. Federation when they was younger, a lot of them type of dudes was all up in the house, and we ended up putting together that big budget, man, and it ended up coming out doing pretty good. You know what I mean? It didn't push us to the goal status we needed to be, but it did pretty good, and it actually elevated Lurch and Mystical. It set Mystical up real lovely because a lot of people wasn't up on Mystical on the West Coast at the time, and after that, it set him up lovely to when he ended up dropping his album on No Limit, man. People was already ready for him on the West Coast.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And then what a lot of your fans don't know is how instrumental you've been in other artists being exposed. From the Hitmans and his solo Creep album to NOH, Niggas on High.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about those projects, the production, how you led that for these young brothers.
With Hitman, it was kind of like really, I didn't even have it was just without direction. We just would get up in there, man, and I just be making beats, and they be freestyling. If something catch me, like Hitman get the freestyling, and he sound dope on the beat, I'll slide it to the Hitman folder. Same way with NOH. We always in there together.
Okay.
You know what I mean? We all one big old group of us, just NOH,
Cypher.
Alias, RBL, I mean, all of us, man, and then just random dudes who were just in there hanging out, smoking and chilling. So we always had like a little cipher thing going on every day, all day in Studio B. So yeah, we just was in there, man, just drinking, smoking, putting the projects together, having fun, man. Them projects were some of the funnest projects to do, especially Hitman, because he kind of paved the way and kind of set the bar for everybody that was on the right way. You know what I mean? Once his project hit and it took off like it did, it was about that. Mr. C wouldn't have passed. That NOH would have did way better because that's what kind of halted their project, and I couldn't get behind it like I was supposed to, because I was going through what I was going through. Going through the loss of Mr. C. So that kind of hurt NOH project doing what it was supposed to do. Project was dope as hell, but it got slept on, and kind of went unnoticed because of all the drama that was going on surrounding us and losing Mr. C. So. But yeah, as far as NOH, it was just them. They just really was just like I said, whatever they sounded good on. Cause we did a bunch of tracks, man. We did a bunch of stuff, and I just kind of picked what I thought fit them in their album at the time. It was a lot of unheard tracks that I never released that got a bunch of the groups on it. Yeah, we got a bunch of songs that never made it, seen the day of light, but it was just kind of like just random. Yeah, I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna do these type of beats for NOH or I'm gonna do these type of songs for Hitman. It was just me just in there just making beats, and whatever they sounded good on, I slide it into their folder and later on have them do songs to it. You know what I mean? But that's pretty much how it was. I didn't have no formula to doing that stuff.
All right. And I have another question, man, that I think you'll find interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear a thread and everything we talk about from the start of our conversation. I believe Black C's big on unity.
Yes, sir.
So prime factors: Harbor Road and Oakdale,
mm-hmm.
Black C and Taydatay.
Yes, sir.
All this is happening post the projects we're talking about now.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that project, how that happened, how y'all hooked up and created that synergy.
Yeah, we just I thought it'd be a good idea. Well, actually, Joe and Chris, who own Dog Day Records. Dog Day Records, who put out 11.5.
UDI and all that.
Yeah. They actually they came up with they actually threw it out there. Me and Taydatay was already tight, real cool. And that's where they seen how me and him was like, our energy, how we got together and how we chopping it up, laughing, smoking. And they just kind of came up with it like, man, I think it'd be a good idea if y'all came together and did a project. And that's kind of where it came from, But then we was about to do it with them. They was trying to do the project. They was, trying to give us some crumbs to do it, maybe like 20, 30,000 or something. They was like, yeah, we going to put this budget together, y'all. Use it to get songs and this and that. And I thought I was going to do it. And then something just told me like, man, I can do this on my own. So me and Taydatay started hollering off the record away from them. You know what I mean? I was just like, bruh, I think we could do this like without them. They only giving up a few dollars. By the time we go buy beats and do all this stuff, we're going to be stuck with maybe like 10, 15,000 or something. Mm-hmm. I said, I can get us more, probably from Bayside. Bayside was cracking at the time with B12 and them up there in Sac. So I was just like, man, I think we should probably do this on our own. So we started dragging our feet on them, and on the under, we started working on stuff without them even knowing. So me and Taydatay just got in the studio. We start coming up to my house. I start putting together beats, getting stuff going, and put together the project, the whole nine, the artwork, everything. I pretty much did everything myself. Tay just showed up. He'll tell you to this day, like, man, all I was doing was showing up. I didn't know how the album was going. I just come, show up, drop a verse, and get on. You know what I mean? And Black put that together. Even the photo shoot, he's like, man, I didn't know how none of that stuff was going to come out. And he like loved me for it to this day. Even like when we went up there and I got that nice fat chunk about a Bayside, he was like, bro, I ain't never got this type of paper from a label, man. I was like, what? He was like, bro, I ain't ever had this type of paper. So I was able to turn it in to Bayside and get a nice fat chunk about of them though. But yeah, that's all we thought was just like we the two biggest groups as far as out of Hunters Point. 11.5 was big, RBL was big. We was just like, we pretty much the two lead men of the group. Let's put this thing together and put it out. That's how we came up with the name Prime Factors. You know what I mean? Pretty much being the prime factors of our groups. You know what I mean? In Hunters Point. So that's how that came about. But yeah, it was a nice project. Got a little bit slept on. Bayside and then was going down at the time. You know what I mean? About to bankrupt, but we was able to squeeze some paper up out of it though before that happened.
I hear that.
Yes, sir.
And man, I kind of want to rewind just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite projects by RBL. And it's my favorite project because I've been through some things in life.
Mm-hmm.
And I admire any man that can go through some things and keep his head on straight and make the right decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So the project I'm talking about is Eye for an Eye.
Yeah.
When you look at the artwork, there's symbolism in the artwork.
Right.
Black C having to navigate being a peacetime and a wartime leader at that time.
Mm-hmm.
With the loss of Mr. C. Tell me about that project, and tell me about the symbolism for that project.
Really, man, to be honest with you, only thing I wanted on the cover really was just the eye for an eye thing with as far as with the eyeball and all that. A lot of the symbolism came from Victor Hall.
Okay.
Yeah, he actually did it because a lot of people was all like, man, you got a lot of Illuminati stuff on there and this and that, and, you know, the checkered floor, the dagger, and the columns in the back. Like, there's a lot of stuff I didn't even really know about that. They were talking about the triangles around the eye. It's like a lot of stuff that's in there that I wasn't even really thinking about at the time. Victor Hall put that together for me. He just asked me what I wanted. I was just like, bro, you know, the album is called Eye for an Eye. You know, I'm trying to make a statement with this album. Dudes betrayed me, this and that, and he put it together. You know, I ain't even gonna say like, oh yeah, I told him do this, do that. I gave him direction.
Okay.
I really didn't. I just kind of showed up. He took the pictures, and that's all. You know, all his ideas. But as far as the project, though, yeah, I was griefing. You know what I mean? Going through some things, getting up out that shell, and losing Mr. C. So I was just trying to make a statement. It was like no more party music, that RBL up-tempo party music. And, you know, I just wanted to make a statement towards them dudes, man, just feeling that betrayal of dudes that I done grew up with, you know, since knee high, you know, to knowing them 20, 30 years at the time and betraying me, you know what I mean, getting rid of getting Mr. C killed and, yeah, and as far as killing him and, you know, he wasn't up there that long. Mr. C had only been up there maybe 4 years at the time, 4 to 5 years. And all the dudes, you know, who I felt was a part of him getting killed, I knew forever. You know what I mean? I knew since I was a youngster. So it was just me just making statements to them. That's what the album was about. Just I got to make statement songs on this. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Yeah, it was hard recording that album, man. That was one of the darkest times ever, man, making music. You know, and I knew it was going to be different because I knew we was going to lose a bunch of the female fans that we normally have.
I hear you.
Yeah, and we did. We lost a lot of them because they like, damn, this is RBL banging now. These motherfuckers, you know, we talking shit now. Ain't no more of that party shit. It was just like, that shit out the window. That shit is on hold for right now. I got to make a statement. So that was about from our commercials on there, our skits, to the songs that we used. It was damn near every song was dedicated to them dudes on Harbor Road. That's for damn sure.
All right, man. Let's go into the next subject, man. I think we need to talk about your solo projects.
Mm-hmm.
From Last Man Standing on down to still Ruthless. Tell us the projects that stand out to you most, and if there's anything special you want to share with your listening public about each of those projects.
The first project, we just break it down from first to last. The first one was Last Man Standing. That one,
that's right.
That one came out based on me losing Hitman, me losing my brother and them getting swooped up by the feds. All that shit was popping off behind us and RBL Big Block. That whole fallout with us on Harbor. So that came out based on that, me being the last one out. That was one of the main, as far as characters, that was part of all that, the whole little mix up with Boob. Everybody, like some of the dudes that's on my first cover, basically.
Okay.
Boob, who started Big Block, he on my cover. Kurt, who was, you know, his dude. and my kid's mom, brother Mo, who on the cover also. It was like, you know, a lot of shit was going on with them dudes. Got swooped up, went to the feds. My brother and my cousin them got swooped up, was in the feds, all behind the little all the killings and all that shit that was going on at Hunters Point. So I was pretty much the only one out as far as the main dudes who was from Harbor. So that's where the last man standing come from. That, and also being the last one in RBL. You know, Hitman being gone, Mr. C being gone. So, you know, it had like a double meaning to that. So yeah, that project was basically about, you know, what was going on with as far as dudes snitching, you know, sending my brother, like, you know, even the intro, you listen to the intro on Last Man Standing, I kind of explained about my brother getting swooped up by the feds, what's going on, how the dudes was telling and all that shit. A lot of them done turned federal informants and shit like that. So,
all right.
And the second project after that one was City of Gods. The City of Gods project, I was doing some experimental shit. It was mainly like me want to use third world samples, like bringing in reggae. I had like a sample of one of my favorite reggae groups, Steel Post. I sampled They Rally Round song, made it to switch it to Rally Round Black.
That's right.
Used a lot of like eerie little sounds, and I had a track on there that mean a lot to me. It was The City of Gods, the actual title track, where I had brought in all the dudes from Hunters Point who wasn't cool with each other. I had Oakdale on there, West Point,
the Unity tip,
Harbor Road. Yeah, I had dudes from Harbor, all that shit up on there. So I did that. And after that project was one of my favorite, my 70s baby. I ended up putting that out. Like I said, that was just going back, me being a 70s baby, just showing the soulful samples. You know, I really didn't have too much of a direction with that. It was just me just getting on them 70s loops. And just however it made me feel, I'm just going to just rap about it. You know what I mean? So that's what that was about. And then that last one, that's probably my second best solo project behind 70. I would say it's probably up there with 70s, baby. I kind of went to Still Ruthless. That project was me basically going back, just let motherfuckers know, like it's still RBL, still Ruthless. I'm going back to the 90s. Pretty much all my features was people from my era, from Sebo and Marvelous, E40, Be Legit, Mac Mall, like Rapping Forte, shit, who else out on there? San Quinn, and Andre Nicotina, you know, Messy Marv. So, and then I ended up I was supposed to have Yuck Mouth on the actual album, but it took him a minute to get the song back in, so I ended up making it a remix and putting it out as a single on the song I Smoked. But that's what that project was about, man. That's like one of my favorite as far as production-wise, everything. And I did everything. That was all in-house, too. And that motherfucker slapping to this day. It's like, you know, I feel it didn't really get that good listen from the public. You know what I mean? But it was kind of like transitioning to that digital SoundCloud era too. You know what I mean? It kind of got caught up in that little tangle, and that was like CDs was going out, and you know, that digital platform was taking over at the time. So that one kind of got slept on. I feel like that's one of my biggest slept on albums. That's Still Ruthless, because that right now could hang with the best of the albums that's coming out right now. You know, that's Still Ruthless is that one. But yeah, them was a fold that I put out, and yeah, I'm back in there kind of working on some shit right now for this book I'm writing. I got a book. It's untitled right now. It's either probably gonna be a lesson to be learned or a ruthless story. I'm proofreading it right now. I'm actually finished with it.
Okay.
The album is done. I mean, the book is done. I'm just proofreading and going through, making sure stuff is correct. I'm working with this dude out of Houston who done published a couple books. We've been working on it for about 2 years, getting it together. So we're gonna get the book out and then try to, you know, gonna shoot our own little, you know, movie or something to it, man. Because it's something it's gonna probably have to be like a series where it's like 3 to 4 different 2-hour episodes or something. Okay. You know what I mean? So that's been my thing. That's what I'm working on now. That's why you shocked me when you said Budweiser was shooting, doing his thing. I was just like, yeah, that's cool, because he got a little story too to tell. You know, and yeah, we all got one. All ours entangle in each other. You know, it's intertwined, but we all got different stories that took us down different paths and shit. But yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at right now. You know, it's gonna be like a 6-7 song EP. It ain't gonna be a full album. Okay. I'm thinking about pushing it maybe to 10 songs. You know what I mean? But I ain't gonna do too much. But so far, I got like about 6 in the chamber so far that I'm working on. So by the time I finish this book, ain't no telling how many more ideas might pop out. It's like, yeah, I gotta make a song for this chapter. This chapter that influenced this, you know,
Okay, Black C, let's go into the digital age. And this new hustle online and streams and downloads and Shazams and everything else that comes with it, the YouTubes and Instagrams and Facebook. And also talk about the people that are paying homage to you, man, like WizKhalifa. And I just found out about IggyAzalea. It's hard for me to say that name. IggyAzalea. Talk about all those things, brother.
Yeah, well, as far as the people that paying homage that came to redid one of our songs, like IggyAzalea, her song didn't come out, I guess whatever label she was on that she just got off of. I don't she ended up redoing Bluebird, or she used a portion of Bluebird in one of her songs. She ended up sampling us, and it was probably like about 8 bars in the middle of her verse where she used Bluebird, which shocked me. But we cleared it for him, you know, set everything up, paperwork, the whole 9, but it never came out because I guess she got dropped from her label. And I don't know if she trashed the music or whatever, but yeah, I was pissed off because she was hot at the time too, coming off of that single that she had. I was wanting that to really come out, and it had a feel to it was an up tempo, had one of those like sort of like that EDM type feel, that electric dance music type EDM feel to it, and it shocked me when that Bluebird came on in the middle. I was just like, whoa, like okay, like she up on it, or somebody put her up on her producer or something. But yeah, and then Wiz got at us last year, and we worked all the little, you know, details out as far as that, getting everything right as far as publishing everything. But yeah, he redid Bammerweed. You know, a lot of our fans don't care for it, don't like it, but I look at it as for, man, it's for the new generation. You know, our fans still got our song. You know what I mean? This is for the youngsters right now. So yeah, he redid Bammerweed, updated, you know, did a little remix, a little update to it with DJ Mustard, produced by DJ Mustard.
Okay, that's Mustard.
Yeah, and also got clearance, actually TeeGrizzley trying to use No Bammer too. So he redid it. So
okay.
Yeah, so you know, I love the dudes playing homage because that keep us lit. You know what I mean? That keep us out there because our streams went up. You know what I mean? Speaking of like the digital age and all that, like our streams went up when Wiz released that song. Because everybody going and searching for Wiz and they getting educated on us because we popping right up there as soon as you pull up Wiz No Bammer or you put in No Bammer, WizKhalifa RBL showing up right up under that.
Indeed.
So yeah, them digital checks, man, damn near doubled up. So I was loving it. You know what I mean? As long as we could benefit from it and he paying homage, doing everything the right way, which he did, man, I love him for it, you know, because he went through the proper channels to get it cleared. You know what I mean? So yeah, but as far as the digital game nowadays, at first I didn't really like it. I was just like, damn, this is gonna switch shit up. I'm used to getting out there doing that hand-to-hand combat with flyers and flats and, you know, getting a promo team to go do a snipe campaign, putting up posters and doing all, you know, nowadays it's just like, you know, Facebook, Instagram, you know, just doing a quick post. You ain't got to press up nothing. You saving more, but it's a little bit harder because now you in a big barrel of you got 50 million dudes posting shit, and you know you ain't standing out above the rest too much no more now because everybody can do it. Anybody can get a flyer, quick flyer, and post that shit on their Instagram or their SoundCloud or do a song right now and release it tonight. You know, it's easier. You know what I mean? It's easier, but it's hard to be seen. It's a little bit more harder, so you got to really, really, you know, put that groundwork in on the internet, you know what I mean, to actually be seen. The only blessing that we really got is that we still got our old school fans who give us a try, sample us, go to our pages or go to our iTunes or whatever and try out our singles. If you're a new artist, you got to do something to really stand out. So that's where you got a lot of these dudes doing crazy memes or doing whatever just trying to be seen, you know what I mean, to get their music heard. So, or they got to dance. You got to have a certain dance to your song or something. You know, get a few females on there to do a certain type of dance and you know, hopefully it go viral on TikTok or something, you know what I mean? So it's a different age, you know what I mean? I don't mind it, you know what I mean? Because I was able to make that transition, you know, to adapt to what's going on. A lot of dudes can't adapt. They you know, they kind of lost, you know, but me being not only an artist, see, I was my own executive producer, you know what I mean? So I was adapting to the times. You know, you got some artists who out here running around like a chicken with their head cut off, you know what I mean? Not to really use examples, but, you know, just say, for instance, like my boy Forte or like Spice, one of them, they used to having like either a major label behind them or executive producer. I always was that of my own stuff. You know what I mean? So it was easy for me to adapt to the times and make that transition to where now these dudes is like, you know, you don't really have them executive producers around just giving out deals. You ain't got the city halls and the Baysides no more who gonna just throw you that big check for 20, 30,000 to, you know, to bring them a project. So it's kind of hard, you know what I mean, for certain artists. But yeah, man, the digital, I love it. You know what I mean? I don't have a problem with it. You know, it's just all about adapting and be able to, you know, use your resources to get, you know, to get your stuff out and use your fan base, use your platform.
All right, man, we gonna take it from, I think they're related topics, from the digital marketing game now into RBL's branding and the job you do with branding. I mean, an outstanding job of branding RBL over the last 20 plus years.
Yeah.
Just like McDonald's with the Big Mac and Burger King with the Whopper. What is your marketing strategy that keeps RBL as a centerpiece in the hip hop game?
Really what I did was just use, you know, you got the weed culture, the cannabis culture or whatnot, and we was big. We was like one of the first ones to actually, how can I say it, not go major with a weed song, but we got noticed. Because I look at a lot of people be forgetting about MC Pooh with fucking with Dank. He was like the first person to me. And then besides him, you had Cypress Hill, who had hints of weed stuff. They was talking about stuff, but Bammer weed just kind of like, just like took off. You know what I mean? So I just was like, man, you know, since that song been keeping me out, keeping me relevant, been just keeping me doing shows, I just was like, I just thought it was only right to just kind of brand that, the no Bammer. You know what I mean? The no smoking sign with the Bammer in it, just kind of pushed that. And man, I was blessed to actually do it because it just took off. The fans ate it up. I don't care if it's shirts, hats, bandanas, whatever.
Indeed.
You know, and we got a big Latino fan base, man. They support us like crazy, and that's who really keep us relevant nowadays, man. The Mexicans buy everything that we put out. They support it all. You know what I mean? The Bluebird stuff, we started marketing that. And I wasn't even thinking about doing the Bluebird. It was actually this Filipino dude actually designed the shirt that I'm actually pushing now. He ended up did a short run on a couple of them and asked for my blessing. I was just like, damn, I like that. He was like, yeah, man, you know, Bluebird is so big. It meant so much to me and a lot of my folks and, you know, and my culture that, you know, I wanted to do something with it and just wanted to get your blessing. I was just like, yeah, man. I said, yeah, let's collab on it. And he was like, well, I just wanted to do a short run. You can actually just buy it, you know, have all the rights to it and everything, and it'd be yours. I just wanted to just basically just do something to just pay homage to y'all. And he's like, you know, because I'm from he's from San Francisco, Sunset area, whatever. So we ended up collabing, did a short little run, a couple hundred shirts. They sold out like crazy. And I took it over and, man, ain't looked back since. It's been good. So now we got slides, man, the mask.
COVID-19 mask.
Yeah, got the COVID-19 mask, the hats, the shirts. I mean, you name it, man. Stickers, everything. So that's been keeping me eating through all this COVID stuff too, man. I mean, it's been doing real well. We constantly selling out. I'm constantly repressing, you know what I mean? And even this year we re-releasing Hitman. This is 25th year anniversary. So October, we got the vinyl coming out for Hitman 25th anniversary. We got the vinyl.
Dope.
Yeah, we got the T-shirts we gonna repress up with the 25th anniversary. We did a small run, maybe like 50 to 100 shirts we had did like about 2 years back. Them sold out, did pretty good. But this being its 25th anniversary, we're gonna re-release all that and add. We're gonna do like a deluxe for the solo creep where I'm gonna put that back out and add like 6-7 unreleased songs that I never put out on there. So yeah, man, the branding is big, man. That's really how we eating. And on top of that, doing the licensing. You know, we did a lot of licensing stuff with the Bammer. We put it in movies. Like we was just in Grownish. It's the spinoff of Blackish, the show that's on TV. They played Bammer Weed up in there. Paid us lovely for that. We in a bunch of it was another movie called Green is Gold. We did licensing for that. Got Bammer Weed up in that. A nice placement. It's another show on Netflix called Day and a Night or something like that we was in with a bunch of other Bay Area artists and stuff. We had like Mozzie in there, E40 songs, Too Short. Yeah, so we got a nice shot, a nice spot where a dude gets shot at I guess at the little sideshow or something where they placed our music up in there. So the licensing thing is big, man. We in a host of like skateboarder, snowboarder videos, man, with a bunch of different songs from G's by the 1-2-3s with Totally Insane to Bammer Weed to A Lesson to Be Learned. So yeah, I've been doing a lot of licensing deals lately, man. And man, you eat off that. You know, a lot of artists don't know about that. I don't know if they don't own their catalog, they don't own their master, so they can't do it, but that's where the money is at. You know what I mean? I pretty much own my whole catalog except for Eye for an Eye album, which is on Atlantic, you know, but everything else is all me.
What I hear and what you just spoke on was control or monetizing your own culture.
Mm-hmm.
Hip hop, ownership, and being able to parlay it into a lifetime monetization.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us how important that is to you and to the young guys that may be coming up to control like CMB, control or contain unit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you definitely just want to own your masters and everything. You know what I mean? Once you got control of your masters and you can control your own destiny, you know, you can clear, you ain't got to go through somebody else to get approval to do something. You know, like when they get at me for movies or soundtracks or whatever it is, whether it's just a documentary or, you know, snowboard document, anything, I can write it off. You know what I mean? No problem. Less hassle. So, yeah, it's just all about just owning your stuff, man. You know what I mean? Because a lot of dudes will sell out to get that quick cash. You know, I understand sometimes, you know, you be wanting that paper. It's just like, damn, this dude trying to advance me 20, 30,000, but now he owning half my publishing or he own the album, he own the master. So, yeah, 20 come and go. I'd rather get mine slowly in increments. I might get, you know, do something where I'm not getting that much up front. I might only probably get a couple thousand, but then it's constantly making, you know, I done blew past that 20 or 30 over years, over time. You know what I mean? So that's what I love about the licensing deals when you're getting the mechanical royalties or the royalties, you know, that BMI or that ASCAP coming in lovely quarterly, you know what I mean? And them checks is nice. You know what I mean? It might be 400-500 one time and next time might be 4,000-5,000. So, you know what I mean? It's just owning it and ain't got to worry about going through somebody else who owning your masters and they can say yay or nay to if you trying to get song placement somewhere. So, you know, I'm big into that, man. I always been about owning my shit. I never wanted to let no label take over. That's why the only album that I don't have is Eye for an Eye, and I've been trying to figure out how to get that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm big on that.
And I think there's one thing that we have to emphasize that this man just said. Black C just said that when something needs to be licensed, they come to him,
mm-hmm.
not to another entity
mm-hmm.
dealing with his material.
Exactly.
So you give the yay, nay, go ahead.
Yes, sir.
On your whole collection except for Eye for an Eye at this time.
Exactly. Except for Eye for an Eye on everything.
People got to understand how big that is.
Yeah, that's big, man. That's control. You know what I mean? That's money. I make sure. I mean, motherfucker couldn't come offer me nothing. I don't care if it's a couple million or whatever for my catalog. I wouldn't do it. I'd rather just it might take me 20, 30 years to make probably 1 million off of it, but I'd rather have that constant revenue than to get that quick, fast 1 million and I done blew it. And now I'm sitting here looking stupid 3 years later. I done blew past that million buying Rolls Royces and jewelry and this and that. And now I'm looking, you know, I'm over here looking silly. I'd rather make a slow million where it's constantly coming in and it's steady coming. You know what I mean? I'm making it over time. You know what I mean? That's what stood out to me when like Rick Ross was talking about the difference between like him and like a 50 Cent. He was saying like 50 might have made a quick 50 million real fast.
Mm-hmm.
He said, but I'm making 50 to 100 million over time. Just, you know what I mean? It was over 10, 20 years, but I'm constantly staying relevant when he got that a long time ago. And ain't no telling what he done did with it or blew it off. He said, I'm constantly getting that money coming in. He said, you know, I done stretched my 50 to 100 over years. I'm constantly getting it. That stand out to me. I'd rather get that slow money that's constantly coming in than to get one big lump sum. And, you know, because you get it, you know, and plus that's proper money management when it's coming in like that. And it makes you manage it a little bit differently. versus getting one big chunk and you blowing it, thinking you're gonna be rich forever, and you know what I mean, that shit don't last, you know.
And what you're doing is you creating a legacy. And what people
Yes, sir.
what we don't think about the long run, pass Black C to your children. Your catalog can be passed.
Yes, sir.
Where your family is able to monetize for the next 200-300 years.
Yes, sir.
Depending on how everything is marketed. That stays a revenue stream for your generations.
Oh yeah, that's gonna constantly come in. That digital money, that BMI, the mechanical royalties, the royalties, all that's gonna constantly come in. When I'm long gone, my kids gonna be getting that. My kids, it's gonna constantly get passed down. You know what I mean? Long as they streaming, and you know whatever new platform come out years from now, you know what I mean, is gonna constantly still get paid. Man, I'm very blessed to be in a position I am to own my masters and have control of my all my digital stuff. So yeah, man, it's a blessing.
All right, we're gonna roll right into the next question, and we're trying to wrap it up a little bit, but I have a couple more questions for you. I want to ask you about and I think it's a theme that I hear, and I've already mentioned it, the unity thing and the importance of unity in San Francisco and Bay Area rap to get this thing moving like it used to. Can you please speak on that for the younger generation and the brothers that are more seasoned, and how we can all come together to really make this movement penetrate internationally and nationally?
As far as what coming together, doing music,
collaboration between the older and younger generation. The younger generation understanding that they have older guys who have the knowledge, who have been places they haven't been, that you may be able to bounce a question off of, get down with if you're a talented young brother out there that needs some direction and you're willing to work.
Yeah, they just got to be open to take constructive criticism and just to take some game from the OGs. Because a lot of dudes nowadays feel like they got to figure it out because the digital make it so easy. You know what I mean? So you can easily just at the push of a button, like these dudes, like they brag on 5-minute beats. Oh, I did that song in 5 minutes and just threw it out. And it's like, all right, that's cool, but you know, that's what I would like. We was talking about was considered like microwavable music. You know what I mean? That's gonna be here and gone. You know what I mean? I'm bumping it today. A year from now, man, I don't even care about that song. You know what I mean? It ain't like that soul food music when we was putting it on that 2-inch reel or that 1/2-inch, making it real thick, that analog sound. Like, you know, when you bringing dudes in there to play, you bringing a live bass player in there to play, you know, you taking time. You know, we used to have to stripe a reel and do it. Like, I mean, it took an hour or two just to get the session set up. You know what I mean? Back when I was doing music. So, you know, in the music, you could tell the difference in the sound of the sound quality of the music back then. You know, when they kill me sometimes when they be like, yeah, I made it in 2-3 minutes. It's like, dude, it sound like that. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's the difference, man. That soul food, man, gonna last you forever. It's like, man, so you can always get some game from the OGs. But like I said, you got to be willing to take that constructive criticism. When the OG be like, you know, nah, bro, you know, do it like this. You know, make these type of moves. Go promote. Don't feel like you can just fly. Because I see a lot of what I'm going through with my youngsters right now. They moving too fast. They feel like man, Mozzie and them didn't drop 3 albums in 1 year. I'm trying to just like, dude, but he got a fan base that he can constantly feed. Create a fan base. You know, put your music together. Get that one single. I would just release singles right now until you get. I wouldn't even do an album because you putting out an album to nobody. You ain't got no fans. It's like, why put out 15? Then you making the album too long. You're doing 15, 16, 17, 18 tracks. Like you got a fan base to feed. And it's like, bro, won't you just go on and put a single out, shoot a video for it? I'd rather spend that money into that and just promote that one song, get that a run. Hopefully somebody bite. If not, drop another single. Then once you create that fan base, then you can constantly feed that fan base. But a lot of these dudes don't want to hear that. They feel like they got to just constantly work. Let me just keep constantly just, like I'm just creating a catalog. But you got a catalog that ain't nobody listening to, man. You know what I mean? A catalog ain't really worth nothing if you ain't got fans who actually support it and streaming it. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to get my young dudes right now, you know, shout out to H2MG, AR and them and the whole Hardhead clique. They trying, you know, he constantly dropping videos. He constantly putting out new music. And, you know, he moving a little fast, you know, but at the same time, he is trying to pace himself and put out videos. He do give a little attention to a couple of his songs before he move on to the next project. But he just, you know, sometimes he will just do the album, do 3 quick videos, frisbee him out real quick on Instagram or put him on YouTube. And then he moving on to the next, like, man, I got a whole nother project I just finished up. I was like, damn, you just put out the video to your last project, just dropped the money, you know. They ain't really sitting on it and giving it that time and trying to pay, you know, because you got you still got a few different outlets like the Vlad TVs, the World Stars, Hip Hop DX, Hip Hop Overload. There's still a few that you can put a few dollars into to get your video some exposure. So it's all about the young dudes just, you know, just acting like they care about the project if you want somebody else to care for it. Because, you know, if you just moving fast, I'm not going to care for it. You know what I mean? And they be having some dope stuff on there, man, where it just need a little bit of attention, you know, a little bit of promo behind it. So, yeah, that's all I can really tell the youngsters, man. Pace yourself. You know what I mean? Listen to some of the OGs. Yeah, you might feel like this is your era, this your time, which is true. But you know what I mean? If a person got some game for you, especially some free game, man, you might as well take it in.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
All right, man, we go walking on out, man, this way. We got to talk about Black C's current events.
Mm-hmm.
Please tell us what you got going on now. I know you talked about the book.
Mm-hmm.
I know you talked about one of your artists that's
sir.
out there. But I know you have more. Tell the people about what Black C is doing, what's coming up, maybe concerts you got coming up, any appearances coming up, so that they know that's stretched out for the next couple months that come to mind.
Yeah, right now, well, you know, due to this Corona shit, everything shut down. Right. Yeah, we had a bunch of shows that was lined up that got canceled. We had a show with the Loonies and Bone Thugs and Harmony that got shut down. We had we had some shows in Arizona that got canceled. Man, it was a bunch of stuff that got canceled. But as far as during this Corona thing, what I've been really doing is just focusing on the merchandise.
Okay.
So I've been doing that. Also, I'm in collaboration with this cannabis crew called Buddy Buddy. We getting together. We got a few a few strains that's coming out up under the RBL branding thing. It's called Ruthless Buddy Line RBL. And we got some Ruthless Runts, some Ruthless 92 OG, and some this Ruthless GMO that you'll be seeing that in the next couple of months. So we just getting that cracking. Okay. And I'm also linked up with these dudes who I ain't gonna say just yet until we actually ink this deal with them, but we doing some pre-rolls and stuff with them. Okay. And some edibles. So it was only right for me. You know, I'm kind of late to the party on the cannabis thing as far as getting my own stuff out to the market. But yeah, I was like, man, I got to tap in instead of just promoting and pushing this no bammer. And I ain't even in this weed culture, like really capitalizing off this this legalization of this cannabis. So that's mainly what I've been focused on the last couple months besides the book, you know what I mean, that I've been working on. So yeah, the book should hit sometime next year. You know, like I said, I'm proofreading it, going over everything. It's done. It's finished. You know, we just doing a few touch-ups here and there. You know what I mean? Making sure we ain't got too much of stuff in there incriminating that that I done said or did, and be like, wait a minute, now we need to reroute that, edit that out. So yeah, but yeah. Besides that, man, it's just like I said, working on a few, still constantly doing these licensing deals, and in the studio, you know, trying to dabble with a few songs, you know, to actually complement the book. So that's really all I'm up to, and like I said, my groups as far as H2MG, AR, and them, the whole H2MG, they doing their own thing. All I'm doing is giving them, you know, constructive criticism, telling them, you know, what to do, what not to do. But they spending their own money. Okay. They putting their own time and energy into it. And yeah, they being their own bosses. You know what I mean? That's what you got to breed bosses nowadays. You can't babysit artists no more. Them days is over with. I try to tell my other artists like that. It's like, y'all ain't got no hustle like H2MG in them. Y'all waiting on me to put y'all out and put money behind you. It's like, man, nowadays you can put an album or a song out for nothing. You know what I mean? Like I said, all you gotta do is click upload, and you out to the masses. You know what I mean? As long as the song is good, mix it. You really don't even need a master nowadays. These dudes are putting out albums unmastered. So it's like, man, capitalize on that right now. Put out those Frisbee some stuff out, and hopefully, you know, you catch a few ears. And, you know, you got a career, you know?
That's it, man. And we want to kind of wrap this thing up, man. But first saying thank you to Black C for taking the time to support and come hang out with the FogBay TV upstart.
Yes, sir.
We really appreciate that. And like we said off camera, man, we could ask you questions till this time next week.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because we are definitely true fans, man, of your art. We appreciate it. It's gotten some of us through our hard times in our life, man. And we just want to thank you genuinely for coming by, man, and spending time with us today.
Yeah, appreciate you having me, bro.
All right, man. So you got to have you back, too. I forgot to put that in there.
Sure. Yeah, we can come back after that book drop or something, man. You know what I mean? Come on in and promote the book or something.
That's it, man. So
talk about the contents in it or something.
Definitely. And then, man, is there anything else you want to say, man, to the listening audience?
Nah, man. One love. And, yeah, man, y'all need some of that gear, man. Log on to that www.rblposse.com, man, and follow us on IG at RBL Posse. Yes, sir. That's it.
That's it. Y'all go find everything he just said, man, in the credits, man, and on the screen, man. So just keep an eyeball on it. Thank you, Black C.
One love. One love.
One love.